Mongolia, a vast land where 99.7% remains uninhabited, faces brutal winters and barren deserts. What makes this place so unique? In this Baby Eagle video, we explore how Mongolia's harsh climate, nomadic culture, and the Zud winters shape its people's lives in ways you might not expect. A land of extremes. Mongolia, a landlocked nation nestled between the imposing borders of China and Russia, offers an astonishing landscape where the horizon stretches out endlessly across its vast steppe. The country's remote and rugged terrain is punctuated by rolling dunes, scattered herds, and the occasional figure of a solitary herder guiding their flock. The silence of the land is profound, broken only by the whisper of the wind or the distant sound of livestock, creating an atmosphere of tranquility and isolation. Spanning an area of nearly 1.5 million square kilometers, Mongolia is roughly the size of Western Europe, yet it is home to only 3.5 million people, a population that is smaller than the bustling district of Shibuya in Tokyo. To put the country's size into perspective, Mongolia could comfortably fit the entire state of Texas twice and still have room to spare. Despite its vast expanse, Mongolia is one of the least densely populated nations on the planet, with just 2 people per square kilometer, an even lower density than Greenland. So why does such a vast and seemingly empty land remain sparsely inhabited? The challenges of its harsh climate, including extreme winters with temperatures plunging well below freezing, combined with limited infrastructure in remote regions, contribute to Mongolia's low population density. The nomadic lifestyle still prevails in many areas, where people move with their livestock and live in traditional yurts, keeping them attuned to the land's cyclical rhythms. The rugged beauty of Mongolia and its vast, untamed wilderness are both a draw for travelers and a significant factor in the sparse settlement across the country. The challenge of surviving in Mongolia. Mongolia is far from the vast, empty expanse that many people envision. It's a land where survival is an ongoing test, where the extremes of nature shape every aspect of daily life. The winters can be brutal, with temperatures plunging as low as -40 degrees Fahrenheit, creating an environment that challenges even the most resilient. In contrast, summers can be equally punishing, reaching highs of 104 degrees Fahrenheit, with scorching days that make survival just as demanding in the heat. Adding to the difficulty is the country's remoteness. Imagine living in a place where accessing essential services like a hospital, school, or even a grocery store could mean traveling hundreds of miles. This isolation is an everyday reality for many Mongolians. But despite these harsh conditions, the land is alive, brimming with people who have learned to adapt to these tough circumstances. The capital, Ulaanbaatar, is home to half the population, but the other half continues to live in a traditional nomadic manner, a lifestyle that has withstood the test of time for thousands of years. So, how do the Mongolian people survive in such a hostile environment? What makes their ancient nomadic practices so resilient? And why, despite the challenges of rural life, hasn't urbanization enticed more Mongolians to settle permanently in cities? The answers to these questions reveal a culture deeply tied to its land, its history, and its ability to endure the unrelenting forces of nature. Understanding Zud, the deadly winter phenomenon. Before we dive into the lives of modern Mongolians, it's essential to understand one of the most catastrophic events that regularly strikes the country: Zud. This extreme winter phenomenon can be so severe that it has wiped out millions of livestock in just a single season, leaving families and communities devastated. Zud is more than just a harsh winter. It's a natural disaster that can bring entire regions to their knees, especially in rural areas where livestock are vital for survival. Could Zud be a significant factor in why Mongolia remains so sparsely populated? The constant threat of such disasters certainly adds a layer of hardship, making the nomadic lifestyle even more challenging. It forces people to constantly adapt and rethink their strategies for survival. Stay with us as we explore how Zud impacts the nation and the lives of those who call this land home. But before we continue, if you're finding this story compelling, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. We've got more fascinating insights to share with you, so you won't want to miss out. Zud, a deadly test for Mongolian nomads. Zud is no ordinary winter. It's a catastrophic event that strikes Mongolia with devastating power, where temperatures can drop to minus 40 degrees Fahrenheit, snowstorms ravage the land, and the grasslands, essential for grazing, are buried under layers of ice. For nomadic herders, it's more than just a seasonal hardship. It's a test of survival that can determine their future. The toll of Zud can be devastating. In the winter of 2009 to 2010, a single Zud wiped out 8 million livestock, 17.7% of the country's total population. The impact is severe, often pushing families into desperate situations and sometimes forcing them to abandon their nomadic lifestyles altogether. For Mongolian herders, livestock isn't just a source of income, it's a lifeline. When Zud strikes, it isn't just animals that perish. Entire livelihoods can disappear overnight. One herder, Bayer, recalls the winter of 2016 when temperatures plummeted to minus 58 degrees Fahrenheit. "I lost 300 sheep in 1 month," he says. "We tried digging through the snow to find grass, but it was frozen solid. It was a tough time for my family." Now, it's your turn to join the conversation. Could you survive Mongolia's brutal winters? Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. Urbanization, the growing population of Ulaanbaatar. While Zud is undoubtedly one of the most severe forces shaping Mongolia's future, it's not the only factor at play. So, what is drawing so many people to the capital while the rest of the country remains sparsely populated? We'll explore that in the next section. In a nation as vast as Mongolia, it may come as a surprise to learn that more than half of the population, over 1.6 million people, resides in a single city. Welcome to Ulaanbaatar, the coldest capital in the world and the pulsating heart of modern Mongolia. To give you a sense of scale, Ulaanbaatar's population is nearly equal to that of Philadelphia, yet it sits in a country 23 times larger than Texas. With Mongolia's population at just 3.5 million as of 2024, this means that half the nation's residents are packed into the capital city. However, the rapid urban growth has brought its own set of problems: overcrowded streets, choking pollution, and a sprawl of unplanned construction, making life here increasingly challenging. Imagine being stuck in traffic for hours just across town, or enduring winters so harsh that the coal-burning stoves in homes create a thick, smoky haze that hangs in the air. The struggle with pollution in Ulaanbaatar. According to a 2024 World Health Organization report, Ulaanbaatar ranks among the most polluted cities globally, especially in winter, as pollution is largely due to coal burning in informal gur districts, where many Mongolians continue to live in traditional yurts. Despite these challenges, Ulaanbaatar continues to grow and thrive in its own unique way. It's a city of striking contrasts, where modern glass skyscrapers stand side by side with traditional felt yurts and high-end shopping malls coexist with open-air markets. One of the most fascinating aspects of Ulaanbaatar is its gur districts, where tens of thousands of families still reside in girs, the portable homes that have been part of Mongolian nomadic life for centuries. In some areas, girs outnumber apartments, and the blending of ancient traditions with modern struggles creates a truly unique urban landscape. A local resident, Sirin, explains her life in the Gir district. "We moved here after losing our animals to Zud. Life isn't easy, but at least we're close to schools and hospitals. My children have more opportunities here." What would you choose, the crowded, modern life of a city or the harsh isolation of the countryside? Share your thoughts with us in the comments, and stick with us as we continue to explore why so much of Mongolia remains uninhabited. Life beyond Ulaanbaatar, the challenges of remote living. While life in Ulaanbaatar might be crowded, at least it's somewhat manageable. But venture beyond the capital, and you'll face an entirely different set of obstacles. Much of Mongolia's land is frozen, known as permafrost, and it covers nearly 2/3 of the country. Permafrost acts like a natural time capsule, remaining frozen for at least 2 consecutive years, sometimes even longer. However, this frozen earth isn't always stable. In the summer, the ice thaws, turning the ground into muddy patches, while in the winter it hardens into solid stone. These shifts make construction in remote areas especially difficult. What's worse is that climate change is making permafrost more unpredictable. Since 1940, Mongolia's average temperatures have risen by 4 degrees Fahrenheit, almost twice the global average, accelerating the thawing process and creating greater instability. According to a 2024 report by the Ministry of Environment, 63% of Mongolia's land is covered by permafrost, with broken permafrost zones making construction even more challenging. Buildings, roads, and bridges can all be compromised by this shifting ground, and the costs of repairs have risen significantly. A study by the National University of Mongolia in 2024 estimated that permafrost thaw damage to infrastructure has increased by 35% in the last decade alone. Desertification and the threat to Mongolia's grasslands. Mongolia faces numerous environmental challenges, with the threat of permafrost being just one of them. Another significant concern is desertification, which occurs when fertile land gradually turns into desert due to factors like climate change, overgrazing, and more. This process is rapidly altering the vast steppes of Mongolia. Picture yourself waking up early on the Mongolian steppe, where the first rays of sunlight bathe the endless plains in a golden glow. Inside a traditional felt yurt, a family begins their day. Outside, a small solar panel quietly hums, powering phones, weather reports, and even market prices for livestock. Life here is fluid, with homes often packed up and relocated by truck or camel to find fresh pasture. Inside the yurt, the warm air carries the comforting scents of milk tea and fresh bread. Yet, perched on a shelf next to a traditional Mongolian bow, there lies a smartphone, an indispensable tool, much like the herding stick was in centuries past. Despite this blend of tradition and modernity, desertification remains a looming threat, with once thriving grasslands gradually transforming into dry, desolate land. As the land dries, the challenges for Mongolia's nomadic herders continue to grow. Nomads in the digital age. At first, Mongolia's nomadic way of life may appear to be a relic from the past, with families still tending to sheep, goats, and camels across the expansive steppe, following the same migration routes as their ancestors. However, a deeper look reveals a surprising twist. These herders are not just traditional nomads. They are, in fact, digital nomads in every sense of the word. Livestock are now equipped with microchips, enabling herders to track their animals across the vast and rugged landscape with ease. Drones soar above, assisting families in locating grazing areas and monitoring their herds from the skies. With mobile internet access now reaching even Mongolia's most remote corners, nomads are connected to the world beyond their herding paths. Whether selling livestock online, checking weather forecasts, or keeping up with global news, these digital tools are integral to the modern nomadic lifestyle. A 2024 report by the Mongolian Communications Regulatory Commission shows that over 90% of rural households have access to mobile internet, making it an essential element of herding life in the 21st century. The decline of nomadic life. Despite its incredible resilience, the nomadic lifestyle is encountering significant obstacles. The harsh reality of Zud winters, coupled with the growing attraction of urban life, is slowly drawing people away from the steppe. Every year, thousands of families leave their traditional homes and gears to settle in permanent residences in Ulaanbaatar or other towns. Baya, a herder in his 40s, shares his tough decision. After losing half my animals to Zud, we had no choice but to move to the city. My kids are happier now. They go to school every day, but I miss the steppe. It's a way of life that's fading. This shift represents a pivotal moment for Mongolia, as city life increasingly takes hold and encroaches upon traditional herding practices. Mongolia's struggle with desertification and overgrazing. The nomadic lifestyle, which has endured for thousands of years, now faces serious challenges. As more families relocate to urban areas, the traditions of herding and yurt construction are in danger of disappearing. However, it's not just urban migration that threatens the land. Desertification and overgrazing are rapidly altering the steppe. Mongolia's expansive grasslands, once capable of supporting large herds, are increasingly becoming dry and barren. Covering 1.5 million square kilometers, Mongolia is the 18th largest country in the world, about the size of Alaska or larger than France, Germany, and Spain combined. Despite its vast size, Mongolia is one of the least populated countries on Earth, with only 2 people per square kilometer, second only to Greenland. As of 2024, the country's population stands at 3.2 million, which is smaller than that of Los Angeles. While the country's wide-open spaces are stunning, they also present immense challenges for its inhabitants. The expansive plains that once supported the mighty Mongol Empire, led by the legendary Genghis Khan, now stretch as vast, sparsely populated grasslands. In the past, these open spaces were perfect for nomadic warriors, enabling them to move quickly and build a vast empire. Today, however, that very emptiness creates considerable challenges. The distances between towns and cities are vast, and the infrastructure remains limited. Imagine traveling for days just to reach a hospital or a market. Mongolia's immense size, while awe-inspiring, can also feel incredibly isolating. Winters are long, summers brief, and the land itself often proves difficult to settle. Yet, for those who call Mongolia home, this vast and unforgiving landscape is more than just a challenge. It is the essence of their way of life.